I'm little, I'm 7 years old, and my face is pressed against the glass of a window, trying to see inside. And I'm scanning for a trace of life or movement. My friend is hopping in anxiety behind me, holding onto a soccer ball while she's keeping guard. Our plan is that as soon as she spies an adult, we'll pretend we came here to get our ball that mistakenly rolled into the veranda of this house we're not supposed to be at. "Do you see anything?" she asks. I see lots of things. I see a couch, a chair. I see a vase with fake flowers. I see toys scattered on the floor. I see a glass cupboard filled with delicate china and jars filled with snacks. And all of it, every inch of the place, is covered with plastic sheets. And the plastic sheets are covered with a thick, thick layer of dust. No one has been here for years, not even a mouse. "There's no one there. You must have just had a bad dream," my friend says. But before we can make our escape, a loud voice from behind calls out, "Get out of there, get off their property." It's Sharda Auntie. Sharda Auntie manages to be everywhere. She's small and wrinkly, and her face looks like she's chewing on something serious all the time. She's quiet but commanding. We wave our ball at her and run away. Now, Sharda Auntie is not related to me, but she is my auntie, because in India, we call everyone auntie, as long as they're not actually related to us. And in my neighborhood in New Delhi, I have a lot of aunties. We live in a community where houses surround a park. It's a large expanse of grass with a fence around it. Kids take over the park every evening after school, a set of older kids playing cricket on one end, while younger kids like me and my friends play hopscotch in another corner of the park. The place is teeming with life, except for this house number 15. No one has lived there for the last 14 years. Every now and then, a neighbor will mention the kids who used to live there, or their mom, known as Auntie from number 15. They say she used to have very thick, long black hair that would take hours to dry. She wore really thick eyeliner. She made the best snacks. She would make rice pudding with a hint of rose water that was legendary. Every time anyone mentioned anything about house number 15, my ears would perk up. I could be on the other side of the park fighting about who lost a game of hopscotch, but I was listening. And this is what I pieced together. House number 15 used to be a home to 3 kids and their mom and dad. They were originally from Bengal, a region in eastern India. One day, the kids and their dad went to visit family back home, but something happened on their way back. They never returned. Auntie from number 15 waited for them. She cooked for them. She made that famous rice pudding, but it all went to rot. They never came. And one day, she disappeared too. Then people came into the house and covered everything with plastic and locked the doors. People say Auntie died, but she didn't stop waiting. Every now and then, someone would hear crying coming from the house, or smell roses, or hear the sound of someone churning a large metal pot, like you would if you were making rice pudding. House number 15 is a sad place, but its perpetual emptiness is a downer for me personally, because it's situated directly across the park from my house. When I look out my bedroom window, I can see the emptiness of house number 15 staring back at me. Diwali is just around the corner. Diwali is the festival of lights, which is in 2 days, by the way. 2 days, 3 days? Something like that. We light diyas, small earthenware lamps, get together with family, clean the house. That's a real part of the celebration. Eat good food. It's a lot of fun. All the houses in our neighborhood will be decorated with lights and diyas, but this house will not. I will see a black hole of gloom, sorrow, and mystery every time I look out my window. Right smack dab in the middle of celebration, it'll be a reminder that not all is happy and light in the world. The night before me and my friend were trying to look into this house, I had seen something from my bedroom window. a light flickering in the topmost window of number 15. Was a new family moving in? I had told my friend all about it in the morning. She kept trying to tell me that it was a dream. I was adamant that we check. It was disappointing to find that nothing in the house had changed after all, and a little bit creepy to think about what it could have been or who it could have been. Could a dream have felt so real? The next day is the day before Diwali. My friends and I are sticking mirrors on our diyas when my ears perk up. Someone says, "Doesn't it smell like rice pudding with rose water?" I take a big whiff. The smell of sweet rose fills my lungs, and then it hits me. This is not the usual Diwali sweet making they're talking about. I almost double over in pain as though the rose perfume is attacking my insides. The other neighbor shrugs. I can't smell anything. I watch other people closely, and it looks to me like they can smell the thick rosy smell. They all seem to be picking up their pace when walking by number 15. I run over to Sharda Auntie, who is also originally from Bengal. "Are you making rice pudding?" She looks at me knowingly. "No, but come and see what I am doing." As a Bengali, Auntie is just winding down from Durga Puja celebrations. Durga Puja celebrates the feminine goddess Durga, who's associated with protection, strength, motherhood, and destruction. Sharda Auntie is in her veranda, putting together 2 large plates of diyas, 14 diyas in each plate. She tells me, today, one day after Durga Puja and one day before Diwali, is a little-known day called Bhut Chaturdashi. Bhut Chaturdashi is celebrated in Bengal, but forgotten by many. Perhaps it was a folk festival locally marked at one time, but increasingly forgotten as Hinduism turns into a religion with a singular story. The word Bhut means ghost, and it sends shivers down my spine. Chaturdashi means the 14th day of the lunar cycle. With Diwali always starting on a new moon, this means Bhut Chaturdashi has no moon in the sky. On this day, Bengalis who remember this tradition put 14 diyas out to invite ancestors in and ward out evil spirits, especially unsatisfied souls that still roam the earth. I'm about to ask why Auntie's putting together 2 plates when we hear a big crack. We look up and see a bunch of teenagers standing around number 15, staring up at the top window. Their cricket ball has flown up, shattering the glass. Nobody is moving. And then Auntie yells out, "Go home, game over, go home," and everyone runs away. Sharda Auntie places one of her full plate of diyas in her veranda and then pokes me to follow her. With the other plate of 14 diyas in her hand, she leads me to house number 15. She hands me the plate and pokes me again. She wants me to set the plate in the veranda of the house. I'm terrified, but I don't remember anyone ever saying no to Auntie before. Cold sweat is forming on my forehead and down my neck. I look squarely at the exact spot I'm supposed to put the plate. I clatter it down, and I bolt past Auntie to the safety of my own house. I can't be sure, but I think I hear Auntie running too. That night, I'm woken up by something, maybe a breeze or maybe a sound. Either way, it felt like I was being beckoned, and before I know it, I find myself peeking out the window. I look over at number 15. Beyond the smashed window, I can see a flickering light. I squint to see more. Are there shadows in there? I don't want to be by the window. I want to be under my covers. I want to be with my mother, but I can't move. Then a spark lights the whole room. My heart jumps into my throat. There she is, unmistakable. Her long, thick black hair flows down below her shoulders. Before I can duck down from my window, the woman looks up. Her kajal-lined eyes look right at me. There's no hiding now. All I can think about is how Sharda Auntie didn't place any protection diyas at my door. A cool hand suddenly brushes my shoulder. It's my mom. She scoops me up. When I look from behind her shoulder, there is only darkness in house number 15. That night I wake up again, this time to a sound of crackling outside. It's still dark, and without thinking, I look outside. My stomach sinks at the sight. Flames are licking up the sides of house number 15. Fire has swallowed it whole. I can feel the heat on my face, but I'm frozen. My mom joins me at the window. I wonder if I should tell her about what I saw earlier that night. Would she believe me? If I was to disappear one day, would my mom haunt our house till she found me? I hope so. Everyone comes out their homes in case the fire catches. Eventually, a fire engine comes by and they bring out their hoses. As the flames go out, we see the charred skeleton of this house. Everything inside, the furniture with the coverings, the cupboards with the jars of food, everything's melted. They've been completely consumed by the fire. I notice Sharda Auntie is right beside us in the crowd, and as I look at her face, I can see that she looks pleased. The Dias brought them home, she says. It's all done. Now they're finally together. They're free. My mother nods and smiles politely at Auntie like, I don't know what you're saying, but sure, that's sweet. I catch my breath. Sharda Auntie didn't place the Dias to ward off Auntie from number 15, but to help her out. A few days later, the fire report comes in. They say the fire was caused by crossed wires. A new house is built. My view is restored, but every time I look out my window, I can't help but think about Auntie from 15 and how she waited for her family.